invoices in QBO is pretty easy. You go to the plus sign on the top right and then invoices. Now you can select the customer, email, send later. The cool thing about this is when you send it to the client, they can pay you directly through it. So you can see there's a shareable link you can send them, or you can actually email them a copy of the invoice and they'll be able to see it and pay it online. So it's pretty cool, especially if you have, I think you need to have the payments set up, but if you do, it's super easy to pay an invoice. Now, what does an invoice do? So when you invoice a client, okay, the amount of the sale, actually, let's just create one right now. So we're going to create an invoice. So you see what happens. We're going to choose any customer. We're going to say send later. This pops up whenever you have charges or bills that have not been invoiced yet. So uninvoiced charges in time. We'll click here and everything else is fine. So in this case, we will save it. Well, actually, let's change it. So we're going to make this $100,000 because we did a great job for them. Okay, so what does an invoice actually do? And this is the effect. So if you notice, $100,000 in income, okay? But we haven't gotten paid yet. So if you switch it to cash, it will show nothing. So it's very important if you're going to be reporting one way or another to keep in mind what the invoice function does. Now, for this invoice, how are we going, and this is where clients get a little messed up, but how are we going to record it? Well, it depends. Let's say they sent us a check, okay? So they sent us a check and we have not taken it to the bank, okay? There are two ways to record it. Once we cash the check, it's going to show up in your transactions list. So it will show Amy's, whatever the customer was, check number such and such for $1,000. What you want to do is match that check to that invoice. So you see here how as soon as I hit match, it pulls up certain invoices that are outstanding. And here is our $100,000 invoice. Okay? So we're going to apply this $55 payment to that invoice. Okay. So obviously in this case, it wasn't $100,000. So there's still a balance outstanding. And let's see. And you can see that here. So if we go to $100,000, you see there's still a balance. So that's good. So we're good so far. Now what happens sometimes is customers come here and let's say they might, oh, I received a payment. So they receive a payment. As soon as you select the customer, the invoices pop up. But let's say, okay, they came and gave us another check for $20,000. I'm going to save and close that. Okay. Well, awesome. We've recorded that check. But what happens is it will show in the bank account next month $20,000, and customers sometimes click add. And basically what that does is now doubling the $20,000. Okay. So you want to make sure if you're using an invoice to match the deposit or the check or the transaction to that invoice so it can be closed out.